On the beginning of this episode, I thought I would quickly go through a quick update on what's going on with the Camaro, and then where we left off on that last episode with the 7-liter is where we're at with the 7-liter. But I do have a little bit of funny information on that I forgot to throw in on that last episode. So real quick, let's go over the Camaro. If you've been following the build on this car, 3 years in the running. Yeah, that's a long time, definitely. It's going to get longer because now we're going to take the Tremec 5-speed out, and it's probably going to get some kind of a 4L80E variant. I don't know, haven't picked a transmission, but it's going to be an automatic, which means more wiring, which means more fabrication, which means more time down on this car. With the transmission being changed to an automatic, it's really not going to run until it gets the Art Morrison independent rear suspension. So my initial thought of doing a 2-stage build with this car, where phase 1 was getting the motor and trans and then getting the car running, and then shake it down, then do the rear end. Now it's going to be a all-in-one build. So I got to figure out what transmission to put in it now. I know there's a few things that I want to go ahead and do with this car, add to it. I'm going to add a trans brake, a line lock, and a 2-step. Really my ultimate goal with this car is to kind of have it be like the Swiss Army knife of vehicles, of custom cars. I wanted to kind of do everything. That's why it's got crazy suspension and brakes. It's got an LS, so it's making mad power. Automatic, which is going to make it really enjoyable to drive. Cruising around, this thing's going to perform well on a road course. It's going to do well on just a cruise to Vegas. And then I want to go ahead and add that trans brake 2-step line lock for drag racing. I wanted to kind of do everything. I wanted to be like, oh, let's go to SEMA, put the car in SEMA. Oh, let's go to a car show. It's going to do well at a car show. Oh, we got an autocross coming. It's going to do well at an autocross. Oh, we got drag race coming. It's going to do well at a drag race. Is it going to do any one thing perfectly? Is it going to pull first place on any? No. But you're going to have a lot of fun going to whatever event you want to go to. This thing's going to perform well. That's kind of my ultimate goal with this car, and why it's so just crazy. Because I'm trying to get it to do, I want it to be the Swiss Army knife of custom cars. I want it to do kind of everything, and do everything well, maybe not perfect. So hopefully it doesn't take another 3 years to finish this car, but I'm one guy in a really messy shop, very messy shop that I need to clean up. As far as the 7-liter goes, I got 1 week to finish this car. That's it. That's all I got this week. By Friday, this thing better be running. I have a lot of stuff to do, and it's early Monday morning today. The funny thing about this car, and it's funny that I actually missed putting it into that last episode. When I was putting the motor in the car, it didn't have the spacer plate on the back of the engine where the trans and the motor meets up. So I wanted to go ahead and add that because my other engine had it. So I popped the flex plate off to put that spacer plate on, and then put the flex plate back on it. When I did that, I noticed on the back of the engine, it had a C in it. Well, just like I was explaining to you guys earlier on the 428, the different variants of the 428, the way you could tell a 428 versus a 390, 352, all the other FE motors, was an A on the back of it. When they cast the block, the guys would scribe an A and then cast it, and then that's how you knew it was a 428. Well, the Cobra Jets, they put a C on it. I did have that motor apart. However, I was told it was a 390, so I had I didn't look at anything. I didn't look to see if there was webbing in the main journals, main caps. Well, it's not the cap, it's the journal. Right next to the journal, inside the block, there's webbing on a Cobra Jet. I didn't mic the pistons of the bores, but it does have the C on the back of the block, which in casting, why else would they put the C there? Now, it's not 100% confirmation. I won't know for sure 100% until I pull that motor back out of the car and actually pull the oil pan off. Again, confirmation on a Cobra Jet is the webbing on the main journals. If it's got that, it's a Cobra Jet. Right now, I'm about 95% sure that's a Cobra Jet. When I actually talked to the owner, the guy that loaned it to me, I said, hey, are you sure this thing is a 390? Because I took a picture and sent it to him, which I'll show you that picture now. And then he went, you know what? He said, because at the time, he loves doing, he's always got a handful of different cars. He's got a handful of different projects going, kind of like my shop here. And this was a motor that's been sitting around for 10 years. He pulled it out of a 68 Thunderbird, I think is what he said. And he built it to go into a, early 60s Mercury, I think. And he said, you know what? I remember that, and I remember getting a Cobra Jet, but through the, hustle and bustle of life, I just kind of forgot. So turns out, about 95% sure, that's actually a Cobra Jet, which is cool because all of those parts that I put on from my 428 are now actually on a 428, which is totally cool. Now the 428 that I'm going to build for this car is actually going to be a stroker motor, so it is going to end up being a little bit different, but because I want to try and get all the horsepowers out of this car, make the owner happy with that car. But I'm pretty excited to fire this thing up, which is going to happen at the end of this week. There's not many times that I actually miss an event or fail to meet a deadline. This car is going to go. So without further ado, let me jump into that. I thought that was kind of cool. I'll give you a little bit of update on the Camaro. Unfortunately, it's going to take a little bit longer. And then the cool part about the 7-liter, it's actually a 428. All right, guys, let's jump into this. I'm not sure when I'm going to come back and update you on the rest of this. Probably won't be until the end of the week when this thing's actually back together and running. But let's see if we make it. It's Monday today, got till Friday. Let's see what happens. All right, guys. Well, it's midnight Tuesday. Yeah. At least it's not hot. Dang. I still got a few things to do. Just realized I'm missing a few fittings for the pressure regulator for the fuel injection. Just climbed underneath the car to make sure that I actually have the 3/8 pickup in the tank, because on these on the older cars it was a 5/16 line. When I upgraded my 65, when I got the sending unit, I made sure I got the 3/8. This one, luckily somebody's already done it, so I don't have to worry about that. The rest of the stuff is from Summit. Just a couple AN fittings, a MPT plug for the pressure regulator, just stupid stuff like that. A PCV breather tube to go to the back of the Sniper. Stuff that I could remember. I don't know. It's super late, so let me show you where we're at. So looks pretty much the same as before. AC box is in. All of the vacuum lines work. All the vacuum bulbs work. Everything is wired and plumbed correctly. Same with the inside of the car. I'm not going to show you the inside because it's really dark. You can't see it anyways. But it's there. It works. I double checked all the vacuum bulbs, make sure all the doors open and close, make sure everything's connected correctly. Vacuum lines are on. None of the vacuum lines are bad. Got new vacuum line for a lot of this stuff. This goes to the heater control valve. And then notice when I was building it, it didn't have a vacuum one-way valve thingy. I don't know, it's late. Can't remember what the stupid thing's called. Anyways, so got the spark plug wires, ran halfway. I just need to terminate them on the actual plugs. You know, this is the best way to do wires, guys. Like if you're gonna do wires, just buy it in bulk. You know, buy the little crimper tool, and then all you do is you just put the little piece on there, measure out how much you need, mark it, cut it, crimp it yourself. All the wires turn out really nice. Anyways, so yeah, that's where I'm at. I need to put heater hoses in it still. I still got to change that driver's side motor mount. I haven't done that yet. And of course, like all of the terminate, I just hooked it up the distributor. So even like the coil, it needs to be coils down here. It needs to be terminated still. So that'll come over and go in there. Just kind of working out all the AN lines and stuff for the sniper. So, you know, making sure I got all the fittings, and even though I got a gigantic box of AN fittings, you know, I'm still missing a few fittings. So, of course, you know, go to place my order on Summit at 12:08, and you know, their system's down. Try again later. So yeah, awesome. You know, computers. What are you gonna do? I still got to run the AC lines over here too. So they go from here to here. I need to add those. I still need to modify this one and put that pressure valve in there. I have to wire so I did get the new Sniper EFI box, so I need to put that in. That is right there. So I need to put that in still, and then wire that. And then the only other wiring I have to do is back to the back of the car for the fuel pump. So I kind of scoped it out back there. I don't know. I kind of got a spot I think I'm going to use. It's funny, on the back of this car, the frame channel's boxed, you know, and it goes all the way to the back. And at the back of the frame channel, it's open. It's kind of weird. Aft of the fuel tank. But I thought, man, that's a perfect spot for the, you know, pre-filter, post-filter fuel pump to go into. So the fuel would actually come out of the tank, go back on the car to the fuel system, and then swoop back and then go back up. But at least the fuel pump and stuff would be really safe. And honestly, that little extra run that it would have wouldn't really affect anything. But anyways, it's super late, Tuesday night, heading home. Come in tomorrow. I really want to get most everything, all the parts I have and stuff buttoned up. That way, because tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday I can put the interior back in the car and start hanging fenders, getting the front end back on the car, so that way Friday I can fire this thing up and drive it. Hopefully that's the goal. So as long as I can get Summit to actually send me my parts. I was hoping to be able to place that order now, but I guess that's just not gonna happen. Anyways, tired, going home. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. Well, it's Thursday evening, 6 o'clock. Tired. 1 o'clock. I've been here till 1 o'clock every day. So some days, some things are, you know, those late nights work out pretty good. When I was doing the 65 and putting the front end on and finishing brakes and the mechanical stuff is not that bad. But when you start getting into electronics with fuel injection and the EFIs can be totally cool, but you know, I had to go quick on some of this stuff. Unplug the battery because the lights are stuck on. So here, let me just show you guys. So here we go. No, it looks the same. That's the sad part, is when you get to these stages, when you're doing all of the little finishing stuff, it really looks the same. You don't see much of any change at all in the you know, in the build. But believe me, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of hours there. AC is almost done. You can see the hoses are ran. I got the low pressure here coming up from the pump, going over there to the evaporator, high pressure going out over here to the condenser with the receiver dryer. You know, all that's connected. The one that I just have to modify that one to add that switch, the shop is an absolute mess, so please excuse that, but this is what I have to put into it. I already wired it, so all I need to do is take that line out, cut it out, crimp this in, put the line back in after cleaning it, and I'll be good to go. So you know, you can see fuel pressure regulators in, all the fuel lines run, everything's good as far as this goes. The wiring over here doesn't look too good, but I mean, there's not much really I can do. I don't have the time to sit there and geek out on it. I'm waiting to put the heater hose in until I have the that last high pressure hose that runs across the bottom of the car right here and comes up the top, because it'll just be easier without those heater hoses in the way. That's 4 things and it's done. Super easy on that. That is on my list though, heater hoses. So the one part is this right here. See that spool? We got the wire that goes all around here and that spool of hose. Yeah, that's the fuel pump. I saved that until last because I thought it would be so much fun to do that at, I don't know, probably, you know, 8, 9 o'clock. I really wanted to get the front end going on this car today. I'm hoping by 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'll have the fenders hung, maybe the grill in it. I really need to have that done. I need the fenders on it and the grill on it. If I can get to that. Tomorrow morning I got friends showing up. We're gonna start the motor up. Before I do that, I have to pull the distributor back out, run the oil pump up, get oil pressure throughout the motor first, pop the distributor back in, use the little timing tool just to set the base timing for the distributor, and then you don't touch it after that. Then it's all computer controlled. Interior is still not put back together, but that's okay. I can button up a few things, you know, slam bam the seats in it, and then go drive the car. So, you know, this is so much fun. You know, you should get a junk car and throw it together in 2 weeks with your buddy. Actually, that would probably be a lot more fun. Just a ratty car that you just don't care anything about. You're just thrashing away on it, you know, banging and chopping and doing whatever you got to do just to make it get down the road. That'd be a lot better than it is now. Oh, quick update real quick before I let you guys go, because I'm about the end of this. I got to get back on this car. But so West Coast Power Tour, they just announced that. It's a week after Duct Tape Drags. So, and I really wanted to take the El Camino. That's the car I wanted to take to that. But being a week after the Duct Tape Drags, if I would have known that, I would have just went to the West Coast Power Tour. It's gonna be awesome this year. They're doing 5 days. It's like San Diego, Riverside, Pomona, Arizona, I don't know. And anyways, you end up at, there's like five different locations, 5 days. One of the locations is Radford Racing School. I was just there a year or 2 years ago, something like that. In fact, you probably saw me wearing that Radford Racing hat around. That's where I got that. Man, that was so much fun. Such a cool place to be. There's so many cool locations on the West Coast Power Tour this year, and I don't think I'm going to be able to go. I could take this car. I could do that. I could take the 7-liter. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I really gotta get through this first, I guess. I'm super tired. I need to get into a clear head, a clear mode of thinking before I can pull the trigger on a 5-day tour with a 66 Galaxie that I haven't even tested yet. I have my 65. I don't know if it would make that one though. Probably would. It'd probably be more like a roadkill episode where we're pulling over all the time fixing it. But I really wanted to take that big block 396 64 El Camino. I was putting fuel injection and stuff on it. Of course, the front end's off because I was going to redo the whole front end and all the suspension and steering and man, that car'd be too much to do in a week. It's a lot of mechanical. I could pull the fuel injection back off of it. It's just sitting on there, and put the manifold back on it. I've got an 850 Demon double pumper I could put on it. Air conditioning wouldn't work. I'd have to loop the heater. I don't know. I might be able to slam it together in a week. I don't know. Possible, I guess. I mean, anything's possible. Depends on, how much effort you want to put into it. So, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I'm kind of going off here. That's it. So that's the update on this. I need to get going. I gotta put that high pressure hose in here. Slam bam that fuel pump in this thing. Hopefully that goes in easy. I'm crossing fingers. I don't know why I waited till the last second to do it. I always do that on the hard stuff. Shouldn't do that. Should just tackle all the hard stuff first. That way everything else is just easy and you breeze through it. But nope, not me. I always do the easy stuff first. I like my dessert. You can see that. Okay, yeah, I gotta get back to this. All right, guys. I'll give you another update. I don't know when it's gonna be. Probably after the car's running and driving. Hopefully it runs and drive. Cross fingers for me. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, it's last I looked at the clock, it was 12:55 a.m. So almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling this Thursday night, even though it's Friday morning. Awesome. Here, got the car looking pretty good. So you can see, sorry about the little flip around there. You see the front end's back on it. She's looking pretty good. Man, it took a while to adjust the fenders, and I don't know, probably gonna have to adjust them again when I put the hood on it. But I got friends coming in the morning and put the hood on in the morning. Front bumper's not on because, one person with the front bumper is horrible. Plus, you don't need a front bumper to drive the car. So, it's pretty rough. But, it looks pretty good. So, interior's not done. So I wasn't able to get to that. So tomorrow, I'm gonna have to button the dash up, put the center console back in it, and put the seats back in, which is actually not too much work. That's why I wasn't really too concerned with it. This is good news though. You look here, yep, it's been sitting like that for about 5 hours. So holding great vacuum. However, the pressure hose that I needed to modify, this is a weird size, 15, 30 seconds or something hose. So the fittings I had didn't work, nothing I had worked. I just went ahead and crimped it anyways. Seems to be holding vacuum. Not sure if it'll hold pressure, but it's holding vacuum. So, but I can always get a hose made next week. I can always pull that hose off, run down to a hose guy, and then tell him, hey, can you make this hose for me? So, of course, fuel pump. Fuel pump's not done. I mean, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at procrastinating. So, I mean, you got to be good at something, right? I don't know. I needed to jack the back of the car up, but I wanted to get the whole nose put on. So this is the plan. I got 2 friends coming over tomorrow morning, or this morning, 10 o'clock. They're going to put the hood on. The guy that I did the 63 Fairlane for, he's coming, and him and his son, he's really good at interiors. So I'm going to tell him, hey, can you guys put the hood on and then jump in the interior and button that up for me while I jack up the back of the car and try and figure out how to mount this fuel pump, and more importantly, how to mount the return. The only thing I can figure is I'm gonna pull the fill tube out, drill a hole in it, and put the little fitting in it. That's my plan anyways. Otherwise I'm gonna be here all day pulling the tank, trying to drill the tank, putting a fitting in it. I don't know. Maybe that's easier. Maybe I can just knock the fuel level, because on the Fords it's on the side, it's not on the top, so you don't have to take it out. I could always knock that out, drill a hole. I don't know. I'll figure it out tomorrow. Anyways, that's where we're at. Fuel pump, fuel pump. So have to have that in order to run. Won't run without that. So I don't know. We'll see. I kind of got an idea of what I want to do. It's got to open. The frame channel in the back is open. It's got like a big open cavity. I've got some steel over there. What I was thinking of is measuring the opening and then cutting out a piece of steel that would basically go over top of that. And then I could just weld it to the frame, put like, like maybe 3 or 4 top and bottom. And then what I could do is just drill some holes in that, and then mount the pump and the filters to that, which is aft of the tank, behind the tank. So I'd have to come out of the tank, go back to the pump, come out of the pump, and then go wrap back around and then go back up. Doesn't really matter. The pumps want to be close to the tank. It doesn't matter that it's going backwards and then back forwards again. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of seems counterproductive, but honestly it doesn't. As long as you have no leaks and it's not scavenging, you're fine. So I think that's the plan. I think that's what I'm gonna do, but I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. So anyways, guys, 1 in the morning, super tired. There's probably a bunch of bums outside staring in my back door, wondering why I'm talking to a camera. Going home. The only thing I don't know is if it will run. So that will shut us down. If this thing knocks, hammers, doesn't run, overheats, blows up, I don't know. That'll shut us down. So I don't know. Cross fingers for me. Hopefully this thing runs tomorrow. You'll find out with me, or today, because early in the morning. All right, guys. I'll see you in a few hours. All right, guys. There you go. It's the end of the day, Friday. Here's the car. It does start and run. It does. However, we were going through the setup wizard on the Sniper, and the car started to get pretty hot. Got up to about 150, or I'm sorry, 210 to 150. 150, that'd be awesome. 210 is what it got up to. And then it started climbing. And so we ended up shutting it down and then exiting the wizard, going in and just setting up manual fan control, because the Holley system controls the fan on this car. Holley, seriously, what's up? Why would you default the fan temperature to be all the way to the hottest setting, which is 285 or something like that? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you set the fan temperature down to like 150? I don't know, make that default. 160, make that default. So that the fans come on when you're first firing up your motor. Gosh dang it, dude. Anyways, so I set those, but then come to find out the fan that is actually in the car is bad. It's pulling so much amperage that it's tripping the micro relay in the module. So the fans are just bad. I tried powering the fan with my power probe, and it even popped my power probe after running it for 20 seconds or something like that. The fan sounds rattly when it comes on and turns off, so it's just not good. So this weekend I'm going to try and find fans, or a fan. Really, I think it needs a radiator too, because remember the grit and trash that was in the old engine? You can see in the radiator it's all rusty and horrible looking. So I'm going to look this weekend. I'm going to see what I can try and find. Maybe I can find a fan and a radiator. Maybe I find a fan. I don't know. I think I'm going to order a fan and then try and order a radiator and see how that turns out. If it actually shows up in time. It's not too hard to change a radiator. It's messy, you know, coolant. I could always it's brand new coolant, so I could always just strain it and put it back in. But I don't know. That's kind of where we're at. I wanted to be driving it this weekend to start breaking it in, but can't do that. I'm gonna have to wait. So, but anyways, let me give you a tour around this and show you what we did. All right. So the front of the car, all put together. She's pretty, you know. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to take this car. Here, let me shut the hood. You guys have seen the engine, you know, it's engine. So it's pretty much the same as it was. I'd mixed up a couple spark plug wires when I was last night doing late night, you know, wiring. So, but we fixed that right away. So yeah, that's the motor. Everything's dirty. So needs to be cleaned really bad. But that's it. She is pretty. Sorry, the fan's in the way. I'm not going to move it though. I'm just going to have to deal with it. She's a pretty girl. Interior's all back together. See the wire for the sniper. Sniper over there by the shifter. The eyelid is not on it because we couldn't find the screws. I remember there being one screw in it or something like that, and it didn't really fit. So I got to kind of work that out. But all the trim's on it, the seats are in it, center console's back in it, of course. Everything's fit and ready to go. Back of the car is still the same, nothing ever changed. But so this is the look you get. She's a good looking car, you know. I love the stance on this car. She looks really good. Got a good stance to her. I know it's bad lighting, but you can see the front end's down a little bit, back end's up a little bit. You know, she's got a really nice stance on her. But that's it. That is Friday. End of the day Friday. And it's only like 8 o'clock, honestly. It's not even that late. 8 o'clock, and already looking really good. So, you know, I mean, that's the way it goes. Not done yet, but I think it's done enough to say this will go. Depending on what I find, I know I can overnight a radiator and cooling fan from Summit. So I'll do that, because it's going to Arizona. It needs to stay cool. So I think I'm gonna try and change both the fan and the radiator. I think that'd be the best thing for it. Since it did overheat, I'm gonna go ahead and pop a thermostat in it while I'm doing that as well. Might as well. I've got the cooling system open, change it, you know, make it all good. All right, guys, I'll report back to you on Monday, because I am not working on that this weekend. That's kind of why I did it early. I kind of, you know, thought about it and was like, okay, last time I went, I was thrashing away on that thing. 2 days before the event, I called it off on my 65 hardtop. A week before the event, I'm gonna thrash on this thing as hard as I can, 12, midnight, 1 o'clock mornings, until it's done. And technically it's done. It does start and run. It runs pretty good, actually. I think I can start it up. It's sat for long enough. Let me go ahead and just key it on here for a minute. The motor is new, So, you know, you want to keep that in mind. But let's see here. I'll set the sniper up here where you guys can kind of see. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these before. Kind of hard to set up because it's got that wire. It'll be sideways, so you just have to deal with it. Let me turn the light off so you can see what's going on. There we go. Now you can see the sniper better. So sniper fires up. Again, it's sideways because I can't hold it and start the car. So it gives you this screen. All right, I don't want to run it any longer than that because of the cooling problem. So that showed just under, I think it was like 195 on the temperature before I went and shut it off. Those were little over quarter throttle, maybe pushing into half throttle blips. Not getting any higher than about 3,000 RPM on the blips. New motor, don't want to push high RPM. Although it sounds raspy. The cam in this thing is nuts. That's what I'm saying. With the numbers that were in that spec sheet, this thing should have been good, like really good. It sounds good now. The funny part is, well, not the funny part, it doesn't, like you'd expect like black smoke and stuff because this is, 60s car and you got to tune it in. Nothing. It's clean. It's clean coming out the back because the sniper knows how to run it. Totally awesome. I'm not fighting it. I always had to fight this car whenever I started. It never wanted to run as soon as you started. You always had to play with it and get it to settle in. Now you just fire it and let it go. This thing's awesome. I think it's going to be a ton of fun at the Duct Tape Drags. If you guys are there, make sure you stop by and say hey. Otherwise, I'm going to take a lot of videos. I'll bring you guys along. You'll see how much fun it's going to be. I can't wait. This thing's going to be a blast. Kind of wanted to drive it this weekend, but I gotta wait. I'll drive it next week and I'll bring you guys along for that. So this episode's not quite over. I know it's getting really long, but let's get this thing finished, get it out on the road, and we'll end it there. So I'll see you guys Monday. well, there you have it. She's back together. Unfortunately, she gets hot. So, you remember on that one video when I was showing you guys the grit, the shot, and it was like metal shot and sand and all kinds of stuff that was mixed into the engine block on that 428 that was in it. There was a lot in there. Remember I was telling you that we really wouldn't do anything except for possibly mix into the radiator and plug the radiator up? There you go. It sucks because this is a $1,000 radiator, $980 something or whatever, $1,000 radiator. It's made by Griffin. How I checked and how I verified that that's the problem. One, I changed the thermostat. I put a 160 in it, and the car's still just getting hot way too fast. Overheated on me once while we were trying to set the sniper up. Now what it's doing is it's just getting hot and I'm not allowing it to overheat. So the last time I had it running, I let it cool down just so I could bring it into the shop. But the last time I had it running, I had the thermal gauge temperature sender on it. I was just kind of gunning around the radiator. Bottom of the radiator, I'm seeing like 160. On the top of the radiator, I'm seeing like 190. And then sporadically numbers all over the radiator, which is telling me that, you know, it can't get the cool flow that it needs. There's hot and cold spots around the radiator, which tell me that the fins are just plugged. So there should be no reason why this thing gets hot. I mean, it's got I put a brand new fan on it because the fan that was actually on it broke when we moved the shop. It must have got smacked or something. The bearing in there was all destroyed. So I changed the fan with the fan I had in stock on the shelf. I believe it's like a 14-inch electric fan. Nothing big, it's a cheapie. It was made by Torque Flow. I don't know, probably got it off Summit. Had it for a while. It works, it comes on, it does its, you know, cooling thing, but if the water won't flow through the radiator, there's nothing it can do. And with the radiator cap off, it's strange because you see water like sporadically moving, if that makes any kind of sense. It like kind of moves, but then it kind of doesn't. I don't know, it's hard to explain. But, you know, I mean, that's the deal. So this is Monday afternoon, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 3:52. So what we're gonna do is pull the radiator, with the fan that I have on there. I ordered a new radiator fan, a couple other small little trinkets to help this thing out. Also oil pressure gauge, because this does not have an oil pressure gauge. It only has a idiot light, and right now it's telling me that it doesn't have any oil pressure. Well, I know it does because it's not making any noise and it runs just fine. I know it has oil pressure. I need to know how much. And so I'm putting just a single oil pressure gauge from Autometer, same spot that I put it on my 65. And then I'm gonna change the radiator and fan assembly tomorrow, and then that should be it. So tonight I'm gonna get this radiator out. I'm gonna get that oil pressure sending unit out and basically get everything ready for the morning, because I overnighted that for first thing tomorrow morning. That way I could throw it in the car and get this thing buttoned up and done. I also did buy another 2 more 160 thermostats for this. That way I could take them with me to Arizona in case I did have a problem with it. I'm not expecting to have any problems with this motor. Honestly, it runs really, really, really good. Transmission's not shifting, which is strange. But when I was moving the intake manifold around and stuff, I moved the, you're pulling and prodding on the vacuum modulator line. I think maybe it popped off the vacuum modulator. When I jack it up right now to remove the radiator and stuff, I'm gonna go under there and check that real quick. I'm pretty sure that it's just unplugged, because it just won't shift. you put it into gear and it'll rev out first, but I can't get it to shift. And if I shift it manually, then it'll go into that next gear. I think it's just struggling because it doesn't know what's going on. I just need to track that down, make sure that that's working properly, and then go ahead and move forward. As far as Sniper goes, I had it hooked up to PCV. I couldn't control the IAC, the idle air control. So I removed it off of the PCV thinking that it's just a unmetered air leak. Sure enough, now I have IAC control, and I'm able to actually set it. I still feel like maybe I need to go around and check real quick for vacuum leaks, but I don't think I have any. There could be one hiding somewhere, causing me problems with vacuum. But this thing is kind of a high lift cam, so that the idling vacuum might be an issue. Other than that, the thing runs great. That Sniper's so awesome. You just turn the key, it pops right off. Everything is ready to go, except for the radiator. That's the only part holding me back right now. That'll be here in the morning. So I don't know, I'm kind of torn on whether or not I should end the episode here or take you guys along on a ride tomorrow. Maybe I'll do that. I'll change the radiator, get that all buttoned up, make sure everything's good, and then do a little test drive, make sure everything's good. Once I know everything's good, I'll grab my GoPro and we'll go for a little ride around the city. Try and keep the burnouts at a minimum, and see how this thing runs. You heard it running in. I'm telling you, this thing runs really, really good. So it's gonna run strong. Anyways, guys, let me get this all buttoned up, and then I'll see you tomorrow when we go run it around town. And if it still overheats tomorrow, then I'm pulling the 65 out and we're going that direction. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Well, it is the morning of Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday morning. It's been rough. This is not going to go. It just won't stop getting hot. I've checked everything. I've been through the water pump. Yes, it turns the right way. I even put a camera in the water pump. It's off the car right now. There's no water pump, no drive assembly on the car right now. I put a camera in the water pump to look at the blades, because on these ones, when you take the cover off the back, it's actually the back of the blade assembly. So the blades it's not like the ones where you normally see you take the back off and you can see the blades and everything. It's the opposite direction. I didn't see anything wrong with it on the inside. All the blades looked like they were in really good shape. It wasn't making any noise. Wasn't weeping. I really saw no problems as far as the blades on the water pump, or the water pump in general. What I did was, since the car was just full of water, I always put water in them until I know they're good. What I did was just took the water pump off, and then I shoved the hose in both the ports that the water pump was actually connected to. On the driver's side of the engine, it seemed like it was flowing really well. When I put it on the passenger side of the engine, I was getting a big restriction. There's something not right in there. I'm pretty confident that the gaskets were installed correctly. However, anything can happen. Anybody makes mistakes. However, I don't think the head gasket's on wrong, or the intake manifold. I really feel like maybe there's a restriction in the passenger side cylinder head. And the reason I say that is because when I put the hose in the intake manifold where the thermostat goes, the water flows out of the driver's side very fast, very easy. On the passenger side, it just trickles out. And so at this point, it needs more work. I'm out of time. I have no more time. The car runs extremely well. The motor runs great. It just gets hot. Yesterday I had it on the street, driving it around. It would go from 210, 215, which is right up to the top of it, being okay, but being hot. You know, it's like 95 degrees out on average these days, 90, 95. So it is a little bit hot outside, but it shouldn't really get that hot. The guy who loaned me the engine said, hey, why don't you jump it on the freeway real quick and see what it does. Maybe at the higher speeds, turn the water pump faster with a lot more air going across it, it'll get better. In fact, it got worse. On the freeway, it immediately jumped up to like 230, 232, and then I was seeing 235, and I was quickly trying to get it back off the freeway, but yet not in a stop and go traffic situation, because that's just going to make it go nuclear. So I was able to get it home, keeping it around 232, which is still very hot. There's not much you can do at that point when you get to where you want to stop it. Heat soaking is when you shut it off, and then all of that heat that's built up in it just soaks in, no air running across it. So what I did was I came around the corner, rolled the shop roll-up door open, and then put my big fan on it, put another blower fan on the bottom as quickly as I could to help get it cooled down, get air across it. Of course, you don't want to pour any kind of water or anything on it. That's extremely bad. Don't do that. Just get air across it. So I popped the hood, blowing air on it, cooled it down. I don't have any, I don't think I have any problems with the head gaskets or anything like that. I did put my vacuum lift on it and vacuum the cooling system. It holds great vacuum, so I know it's not leaking. In fact, I vacuum filled it on the last time that I did fill it because I was concerned with a possible air bubble creating cavitation, and that wasn't the case, because when you vacuum fill a cooling system, there's absolutely no way air could be in the line. I also made sure that the heater core was open. In case you're wondering that, it was flowing through the heater core, not creating a cavitation there. I really think there's a restriction in the passenger side cylinder head. Based on the previous build, it would not surprise me if that machine shop was either angry at the guy who had the commission to have the motor built, or what, and maybe they shoved a rag in it. Maybe I don't know. I'm fully expecting to see some kind of rag or paper or something crazy in that cylinder head. But at this point, I don't have any more time to diagnose this thing any further. The motor went together well. The fuel injection runs fantastic. I'm sorry I couldn't bring you guys along for the ride on that one. When we do get this fixed and it is running, we'll make sure we go out in it, and so you can see how it is. This thing really woke up. Of course, putting a good engine in it, a good bottom end that's not 40 over bore with 30 over pistons. It actually has a bore and a piston matched up to each other. This thing really runs good. That fuel injection really makes it just so much nicer and more pleasant to drive, even with a, semi-wild cam in it, because this thing does jerk around. With a semi-wild cam in it, before, when you fired it up when it was cold, you had to sit there and baby it for 5 minutes before it would finally start to idle, because it just was too cold. It would always try and die. Fuel injection just compensates for all of that, keeps it running fantastic, even when it's dead cold. I can't really say enough about that Sniper fuel injection, at least for the time that I have played with it thus far. The Sniper is fantastic. Honestly, I want to put it on my 65. It's that good. It made it so much nicer, so much more pleasant to drive. You get a lot of things at your fingertips, like coolant temperature. These cars don't have coolant gauges. They just have an idiot light that tells you whether it's cold or whether it's hot. So now I can actually monitor the coolant temperature. Yeah, you could put a gauge in it, which I did in my 65, along with oil pressure. This will also tell you your air-fuel ratios, because it's got a wideband in it. So it's telling me right what the air-fuel ratio is. So far with it running, it's been around 13.5, which Stokio's 14.5. So it is running a little bit rich still, but maybe that's because of the cam and that's what it wants. I know one thing, coming out of the back, the exhaust coming out of the back of it does not smell heavy. It's not burning your eyes or anything else. It smells like any other, you know, maybe a little bit more than any other regular car you'd see driving down the road, because they have catalytic converters and stuff to really knock that down. This does not. But man, does this thing run good. Up on the freeway, I did get into it a little bit because I wanted to spin that water pump up a little bit more. So maybe I spun it up to about, we'll say $4 grand on the freeway, cruising at about 55 miles an hour. Nail it about 3/4 throttle, it downshifted and took off, and I wasn't even full throttle in the thing. This thing is really a rocket ship, which is cool. That's what it always should have been. So I am going to work hard on trying to figure out what is wrong with this car, what we need to do to get it back on the road and get it running cool, because that is the most important part. I might be switching cylinder heads. I don't know. I got to do a lot more diagnostic work. I'm not one to just throw parts at a car. I'm not just going to parts can the car to figure out what's wrong with it. You really got to do a lot of the investigative work to figure out what's causing it so you can fix it properly. Knowing what's wrong is more important than actually fixing what's wrong, because if you don't know what's wrong, how can you fix it? So that's where I'm at. I am going to get back to this car, but for now, I don't know if you can see back there in the corner, I pulled the 65 hardtop out. That's what's going to be going to the Duct Tape Drags this year. It's funny because I actually built that car for the Duct Tape Drags last year, and it didn't make it for similar things. Obviously not for cooling, but for other reasons, transmission mainly. It didn't make it. Now this year, it wasn't going to go. This was going to go. Now this has cooling problems, and now that's going to go. So it's kind of funny how that works out. Maybe next year this car will go. I don't know. Not sure. But we are going to get this thing running. I am excited to get it back on the road and enjoy it a little bit. So, but for now, if you go to the Duct Tape Drags, which I hope you do, if you're in the area, stop by at least one of those days, Saturday, Friday or Saturday, and you know, tool around, have a good time. If you see me out there, stop by and say hi. But that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. Sorry guys, I wish I could have made this happen. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's just the way it goes. But I'll be out there at the Duct Tape Drags with the 65 hardtop. You'll know it's me because it says bum with a wrench all over it. So, alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support. And as always, until next time.